Good evening. This is the Town of Auburn, Massachusetts, the Fire Station Building Committee meeting for September 15th, 2025. It's 6 p.m. Calling to order the meeting. First item on the agenda is public comment. See no public, so we'll move on to the next agenda item is review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting, which I believe was August 11th. They were sent out for review. Is it any comments, questions, corrections for those meeting minutes? If not, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay. So I get a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Those are approved. Next item up is Tecton's update with the schematic design and estimate and everything else. So
all the things.
Big stuff.
Good evening, everybody. We've got a lot to cover, so we'll just do a quick update on where we've been over the past month. So we completed schematic design. Those documents and the outline specifications were delivered a couple of weeks ago, and then we just received the final estimate the end of last week. So took a while to get there. There was a lot of revisions, a lot of comments. There was a lot of coordination between our team and the estimator. We've also had 3 different design development meetings that have been going along. On August 14th, we met with the building department, went through the entire project with them, made sure that they were on board with everything we were doing, and answered any questions or concerns that they had related to the project. And I think we left that meeting feeling like we were in pretty good shape and comfortable with the direction the project was headed. And we subsequently are going to be setting up additional reviews at the trailing phases ahead of the bid. The ultimate goal is that when the general contractor submits for a permit, that it's a really quick review process and we can get right into the ground and start construction. And then, as I noted, then we had an interior design overview meeting with the fire department. They actually came down to our office in Hartford, and we had a great meeting with them. Went through a lot of things with the project, and we'll show you some of that. And then, most recently on Thursday, we had a plumbing systems and selection and firematic coordination review with our MEP engineers in the fire department, mostly going around all the different components that go into the apparatus bays, a lot of them plumbing type systems that integrate into their trucks, and making sure that they're ready to respond to a call. And then, as I noted, we had the schematic design estimate that took 3 rounds of revisions to get to a point where we were comfortable bringing the estimate to the committee, and we'll review that a little bit later. Looking ahead, we have 2 technology meetings on the immediate horizon. One next week, which is going to be focused on IT and security for the building. Following that, on October 9th, we're going to be doing another technology meeting specific to the radio systems, radio integration, and station alerting. We're then scheduled on October 17th to deliver a 75% design development package to our estimator for the next round of estimate. On October 23rd, we're going to be doing millwork and appliances, so going through all the cabinetry within the building, and as well as selecting kitchen appliances, making sure that we're space proofing for those. On November 6th, we're going to have our air quote final, so we can always have another interior design review where we're going to be going through a compiled final package of everything we talked about last month, making sure that everybody at the fire department's on board with what we're looking at. And it's another opportunity to make some revisions should we need to. And we are scheduled just before Thanksgiving on November 9th, submitting to the committee 100% design development package.
So, I just want to add, so where it says final interior design review, he's going to go over what was discussed, what was approved tentatively with the department, and obviously with the committee. However, even as a design progresses from design development to CD, there can be tweaks that can happen on it. And that not only goes with interior finishes and aesthetic architectural features, but the specifications as well. What I don't want to see happen is when we get into the 75 or 80% completionist construction documents, to make those changes tends to create an opportunity for detail not to be caught. And when detail's not caught in specifications and plans, it creates change orders. So, when we get into that, and Matt, you can agree to disagree, but 75 to 80% of CDs, we should really iron out some of the specifics of what we're looking for. That's all.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Sometimes when you see final, you think that's it after DD, and it technically isn't. That's all.
Right. Concurrently, just wanted to give you a quick overview on our permitting schedule right now as it sits. So October 21st, we're planning on submitting to the Conservation Commission as well as the Planning Board. We're anticipating that we would be appearing at both in November. We would then anticipate hopefully receiving final approval by Conservation and then by the Planning Board in December ahead of the holidays. The schedule allows us that should we need one more hearing in January, we can afford that within the project schedule. So that's sort of our plan as it sits today. So we're working through those permit documents right now, and feel like this should be a pretty easy permitting process within the town. So just a couple of bullet points on the 3 design meetings we had over the past month. So in the inspector overview, we reviewed the building and site design in detail with the inspectors. They noted that there weren't any concerns with the design as it currently stands. And as I noted, we'll have additional reviews and meetings as needed. They'll also be updated with all the submissions that we'll be submitting to you. They'll also be getting those so they can review any of our documents along the way and provide additional comments. The interior design overview, this is a snapshot of what I'll call the mood board that we had initially presented to the fire department. So they came down to our office. We have a pretty large presentation space. So they came, what, you guys have 12 folks or so that came along with you. We sort of went through space by space, all the different types of finishes that we were envisioning for that, and wanted to make sure that the color, the palette, the durability, everything aligned with the expectation of the fire department. Really the goal or sort of the overarching theme was reasonable cost and most durable and lowest maintenance. So that's sort of what we couched all the finishes within those sort of 3 buckets. And this is just sort of a snapshot of some of the paint tones on the left, more neutral paints. Some of our more prominent spaces like the lobby and the training room and the day room, doing a wood wainscoting, that's something that's a little bit more durable, that can take a little bit more abuse, so you're not scuffing it and repainting it over and over again. Looking at some terrazzo here for the lobby, a couple of different tones of terrazzo, sort of the most durable finish that you can put into a lobby. We looked at that as sort of a primary finish, and then in an alternate option through resilient product, sort of like it's called a quartz tile. So it's kind of like vinyl tile, but it's got quartz mixed into it. So it's much more durable as an alternate finish if we need to reduce cost in the finishes. So essentially that's where we're at. I think we had sent along, the entire, with the meeting minutes, the entire presentation that we gave that day. So it's an in-depth 40 or so slide PowerPoint. So review that. Let us know if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns with any of that material. And then we had our plumbing and firematics review. We went through the entire plumbing fixture package. We did confirm, I don't think this was something that we had talked about since the last building committee meeting. Initially, we were talking about doing all manual faucets and toilets for the entire building. This was a request from facilities to reduce maintenance. We did actually change that and went to touch-free fixtures for the public restrooms. We also went through all the different firematic fixtures, compressors, air and hose reels, hose bib locations, truck fills, undercarriage truck wash, in one of the bays. We went through all those locations exactly where we wanted them. There's been some additional review that you guys have taken in terms of the hose reels for the truck fills in particular. So you'll send us that information. We'll get that incorporated.
One of the biggest reasons why this is so important is that, you know, the apparatus bay has a lot of components in it. And each of the columns, now, if you could picture it, have the door rails for the door openers, but they also have lights associated with, you know, whether the apparatus can leave the bays. They have truck fills that are needed in there. There's electrical sensors for the doors to operate for safety reasons. So that, you know, 2.5 foot, 3 foot wall gets a lot of installation on that. So understanding what they need and what they want, and then coordinating it with all the disciplines is probably the biggest obstacle. And that's probably one of the biggest complaints, because what we end up doing is, you know, structural steel and ductwork are the two biggest items. We got Plyma-Bend or MagnaGrip, depending on what system that we're going to go with. And that has to get in there. The way their trucks are actually set up in the apparatus, we spent, I want to say it was a good hour and a half, like going through all of that. Mm-hmm. And it was only our first touch. It's going to be, you know, as they do their coordination drawings and actually start to show some of the interior elevation of some of those requirements, it's going to get tweaked again. So each of these exercises are essential to make sure that we're capturing all of the level of detail that we need for these drawings and specifications.
It's amazing that the apparatus bays are like 9,200 square feet in this building, but everything lives in those pilasters between the doors. So it's very, very critical to make sure that gets coordinated properly. One other thing we wanted to look at was the exterior of the building. You guys hadn't seen that just yet. So this is a rendering of that exterior. So this is the mechanics bay here, the 4 bays. This is the staff entry to the right. And then wrapping around the back here, this is the fitness room with the overhead door. And then we've got our training room around the corner. One other thing we can show you it in is this is our actual live model. So this is the Enscape model. We can actually send this to you. You could drive around in this. So we can show you sort of in real time, photoreal, what the entire building looks like as well. And so one of the things is when we talk about the next interior design presentation is we're working on getting all those finishes incorporated into the interior of the building. So it's also at the same level of detail, so that the fire department can start to see how a lot of this comes together.
Matt, you're also working with the civil engineer and that group to work through some of the entranceways and the turning radiuses and paths. I think that was another meeting that we all attended, just to kind of, you know, iron out what made the most sense. We, as a group, Tyler was here last week, and the committee had some conversation points and indications of what they'd like to see. I know your design team is going back to work through some of those differences, and we're going to present. Is that something that we could expect over the next visit?
You're talking about the floor plan changes?
No, I'm talking about the exterior
the
parking
site
lot,
plan.
entranceway, road.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the site plan we submitted with the schematic design, the final schematic design package has
The changes?
incorporated
Okay,
into
great.
it. So I can pull that up.
All right. I just want to make sure that the committee saw some of the tweaks that were done to it, so you have a comfort level as we move forward. That's all.
Before I move away from this, does anybody have any comments on the exterior?
I didn't mean to jump. You just showed me the parking lot, and I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, no worries.
I mean, this rendering doesn't jive with your elevations in the schematic design estimate drawings.
How so?
Your stair tower and everything else just showing flat roofs and stuff back there.
This piece of it has been an ongoing area of development.
Yeah.
So this is reflective of an item down a little bit further where we squeezed the building a little bit tighter in a couple of areas, and part of that required some modifications to the stair tower and make it a little bit more efficient and some of the spacing. So in the elevations you've seen schematic mapping, this extends all the way across. It's a flat.
Right.
So yeah, that is one change here. What I would note, this extension here is solely to get access to the upper roof line here through the stair tower.
So there's a doorway and a ladder that gets down from
There's a
point A.
doorway out the other side to accommodate that. If it were me,
I feel like it detracts from the rest of the architecture of the building, and I feel like it's a lot of money we're spending to get up to a very small portion of roof that could be accessed with a ladder pretty easily, when the entire roof itself isn't accessed by a stair. But
The section you have with the peaked roof right there right now is only the stair, right? Or is that the stair and elevator?
it is, but the stairs coming up this way to get up to that high roof, so it needs to pop up in order to.
But that space is also needed for the elevator overrun, right?
no, that's a whole floor down. We're going up an entire extra flight with the stair tower
Okay.
in order to get up to that high roof.
Instead of doing a complete tower of that nature, could you go up a half stair to a platform and then have a ladder go up and over?
You could also.
Is there general access roof to the lower, to that?
Yeah, so this roof, you come out right here. This roof is where that patio is.
Yeah.
And that has ladder access up to the apparatus bay roof, and then it's only a couple of feet higher.
Could you do ladder access to that other?
Yeah,
I mean, rather
I mean,
than
we're
put that
talking,
gray,
we're talking,
And you don't need to walk out to the high roof.
we're talking between $250,000 and $500,000 a stair tower. to
yeah,
up to that.
I'd get rid of that.
Especially when you have a
Why would you need it?
Tower 1 sitting there if you need to get on the roof.
It was requested that we provide that.
From a service standpoint.
Yeah, the
Well, I
service
think
and maintenance of equipment up
Originally,
there.
it
You
was
got
talked
yeah.
about for, service maintenance, whatever. You could put like I don't know, some type of a roof-mounted ladder even from one roof to the other, right?
You could do an
It's
exterior
carrying
set
the,
of
so
stairs.
the issue came,
Yeah, right.
and it happens on a lot of stations. Mechanics coming out to do your service program, they gotta carry their bags and everything up
Yeah.
ladders to do that. It's not unheard of. Most mechanics and vendors will do that. We're looking at convenience, but I'm not looking to spend $500,000 for that convenience. That's what I'm trying to say.
They're all wearing
Agreed.
nowadays.
So-
So carry it up.
And that's just my opinion. I'm
You
just,
can get rid of that whole like back
Yeah, the gray thing.
area, the gray part.
Exactly, yeah. So it'd be more in line with this past that year,
Right.
sticking up so high.
that's
Is
an
it
open-
in line though, Matt, or do they not line up? Like
They don't line up.
they look like they don't line up. I was just curious.
They're offset a little bit.
Yeah,
Will there be equipment on that higher roof?
Yes.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know exactly what we're putting up there at the moment. I think we're
Yeah, there's 4 pieces up there anyway from the drawing.
fans or something like that.
Right.
So,
What's the what's your feeling on that?
I don't disagree. I mean, it's kind of a big I mean, I'm not so sure it's back of house. I'm not sure why we need the peaked roof on it
Right.
as well. You know, it's kind of like it's not really viewed from anywhere. It's kind of, we're looking to save some bucks here and there.
Mad shall giveth, he'll taketh too. So
I mean, if we're concerned about the ladder for the access, maybe we do an exterior set of stairs, like a galvanized open tread stair, so we're not worried about snow or anything, but it'll make an easier access for the service.
yeah, you could
If
do
it's
that.
not going to end up being some giant gaudy thing,
It's just the answer is yes. Second part of it is that how it mounts to the lower roof and how the roof transition gets wrapped. Whenever you have
is going to be a concrete deck for the future expansion.
no,
That's-
well there.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
but you wouldn't come up over that one.
Yeah,
You would-
That's after the fact. So it'll be a metal deck probably with insulation. He'll just have to figure out the level of detail and how he's going to coordinate the roofing's assembly to go around that gavel. It's doable. We've
Yeah,
done
no,
it
it's
100
all
times. It's just
having the structure down below, make sure everything transfers through.
last thing I want to do is have the chief call us and tell us he's got leaks in that training room. So
okay.
all right. Well, that was good feedback.
Which leads me to another spot that I see for leaks is the west entrance into the EOC training room area. We have that little
West entrance.
right
Right
off
here?
the grass area there. Yeah. Ooh, where are you going?
Oh, we just flipped it upside down.
We're underground tunneling. We're tunneling.
We got a tunnel there.
Hold on. Right here?
Yeah, you got. I mean, you take the parapet all the way around, and I mean, it's just kind of like a
Oh yeah, just run it all the way across instead.
Just run it straight across. And
Right,
create your
a cut in. Architecturally, it makes sense.
It's a big snowdrift area. It's going to be, get a lot of corners and stuff. It's yeah.
Every corner's money. So
Yep.
if you went straight across, did you do that to put that little roof so they have a distinctive entrance? Is that what you did, Matt?
I'm guessing.
Comes out with, they come out with a little bit of a canopy
Right.
there, and it's the
You can still have a
vestibule door.
recessed door.
Yeah,
You
the
just
door
have
is
to have-
recessed back. Yes, yeah.
we can
Like
just
an
fill
open-
it right above the canopy and
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Someone's watching and looking at the drawings.
We're not done.
But this is the detail we want to catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we're at right now. I like how the truck can park on two wheels too.
Yeah. A flying trap.
That's what happens.
Down in Florida where they bounce them.
No, it's going back and forth to the estimate and everything too. But your second floor areas, elevation wise, it calls out the basis design as metal panel, but they priced it up as hardy board, and then gave us an alternate to go to metal panel.
Right. Yeah, they screwed that one up
Okay.
several times. They were also charging like $110 a square foot for hardy plank, which is insane.
Which is unheard.
Well, they're also charging almost double brick for the metal panel, which is not right either. The brick should be higher than metal panel, material cost wise.
we see metal panel in the $100
the range?
square foot range quite a bit.
Like the range shields you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone crazy.
Let's put brick up there then. No. We're looking at you're looking at the long term, 50, 70 year building.
Yeah.
Hardy panel, you're going to be up there painting. You're going to be
That lasts a
maintaining.
pretty
It's
long time too, though.
well, I know, but you're going to have to paint.
Not
You're
as
going to have to do
brick.
maintenance on it and stuff.
Well, not if you get no. We would envision pre-finished.
I don't care. It only takes us, maybe a decade, but then you're going to be doing something to it.
Listed, and
Yeah.
we can look at that option. You want to break up the massing. That's the whole level of detail why they're trying to. There's other materials you could probably look at, I guess.
Can you spin the building where he's talking about so I can see it? Please.
I can't believe how well you guys keep the grass.
There.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's there and it's on the.
Other side.
Yeah,
The
then
other
I would
side,
assume it's above the. Is that the same stuff? It's above the apparatus bays too, where you go gray.
Yeah.
Pretty handsome building.
What do they say like the life expectancy is on that?
On
On like that panel versus brick?
hardy plank
Yeah.
or hardy board. Until you break it. It's
Yeah, like forever, right?
99% of hardy planks issues are the installation of it. So when a piece is cut, it's got to be primed on the edges. It's got to be mounted specifically. When it gets drilled, it's got to be sealed, because what happens is over time, moisture gets into it, and you'll see blistering. If it's all on the installation of that, but the longevity of it is, it's a long time.
Yeah.
You can get away from the hardy board. The biggest thing that saves that is just the paint. The hardy board is rubbish. It tells you it bends in your hands. It's not a
that easy.
longevity product.
No.
Paint is what holds that together. And watching the town, maintenance isn't one of our largest items, so we want to go more maintenance. I know everyone sells it as maintenance free. It's not as maintenance free as everyone thinks.
Nothing's maintenance free.
Right. And like you said, the installation is also the very big key to that.
Oh,
It
yeah,
needs
you
to
gotta be-
away from water. Like
yeah.
It cuts up off of the roof. There's all these dimensions for that, and if it's not falling through the T, you miss something. It's just
Be
gonna be
flashed
something we're gonna deal
right,
with later.
everything about it.
Right.
That's why I was saying that maybe there's an alternative material that we can look at. That's all.
Can we see like the garage side again, Matt?
front or back.
The front, please.
Hardy plank was a solve. It was a one-all solve all back in the day, right?
Well, everyone was into it when
Yeah.
it first came out until they started really paying attention to it.
Until they had to replace it.
On the elevations, it looks like the only windows are the ones that are noted this way are around the EOC training room area. They call it a impact resistant school guard glazing. Why is it only there and not the rest of the building? I don't know what the.
EOC has ballistic protection requirements.
So this is going to be, so I need a clarification on that. And you just said, is this going to be the emergency response center and and then you'll have a fallback? Does the police have one?
No, this is the whole town's.
Okay. So no matter what, this is where everybody's going to meet in a catastrophe.
Yeah. Today it's in the police station.
You could do it.
We had originally in the budget, we were talking about doing ballistic
Schoolhouse glass.
glazing, which was required by NFPA, and then school guard glass was a lower cost option.
Right.
It's more intrusion resistant, and it's not UL 750
Right.
rated for ballistic rating.
That's the difference.
But they sell you that it is and show it. So it's a common, less expensive alternative, but DOD and NFPA require ballistic ratings for emergency operations.
When you're building new.
I don't care about the fire department operations 24/7, but the EOC's got to get protected.
It's not, I'm not saying it's not important.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Yeah.
Yeah. They say the same thing for a dispatch center, but they don't care about a police station.
Right, but police,
Right.
like police stations, I can see that point.
Okay.
Most people like firemen, so.
The site plan shows 19 spaces of EV charging. Is that just EV ready, or is that
EV ready.
Are we going to be putting in 19?
That's the infrastructure. That's everything. That's basically everything but the
Pedestal?
but the unit. Yeah, that's because you're a stretch code community. That's the amount that we need to provide per the stretch code.
And you should put in the infrastructure ahead of time.
No, I don't disagree with the infrastructure necessarily.
I know.
Yeah, for the amount of parking
right.
spaces that we have and everything else, it's a killer. But I wouldn't put them out in front of the building either on Route 20. Why couldn't we put them down going west of the training center and stuff, and not because when you start putting them in, you're gonna have all these pedestals sitting up out in front. I mean, just not attractive for the building. But
What do you?
Swing the building back again, so we're looking at the front entrance, like the parking lot at the front entrance.
Why don't I pull a site plan up?
You mean in front of the green space?
How many actual EV spaces are we required to have?
You just said 19.
Operational,
That's what
19?
he said. That's what it.
not operational. No, that's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How many operational to start?
None.
None to start?
And each pedestal, you can have 2
yeah.
charges off of them. So, you could reduce, if you place them appropriately, 2 spaces could have 1 charger.
How is the electricity for those charging stations going to be monitored? Is the town just paying for whoever chooses to park there and charge it?
If it's for department use, normally it's included. But if it's going to be for anyone use, people typically would pay.
How would that occur? How would they?
It's like,
Whoever the town uses, like if
It's
they
like a
have-
credit card.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have to set up an agreement as a company.
You bring data out there, and they have a credit card system.
Yeah, typically towns will have like a
a vendor.
vendor that they typically use for like town hall parking or whatever is around town. So.
Not free.
Yes, you're thinking more on the backside.
Nothing's free.
Yeah.
So right now they're along
there.
here.
So when you go to start put pedestals in, it can be right out in the front door. Versus if you went to the back side of the parking lot
Down here?
Not well,
No, even to the other side.
just up closer to the
Just
building.
Right there, like right.
yeah, right there, like
to the left
there.
is almost. We got close to 19.
Yeah, I mean we could do that. We need to have some here because we need to have.
Yeah, I think
ADA.
there's one over there in the handicap spots.
Right.
That makes sense.
And then there's one over in the space for the memorial parking.
Is that
Just tried for convenience to go back to back. Is that what it is? Convenience sake, you went back to back.
It could be
Well, so yeah, so like these are like
Years from now, and the technology could be changed. as
one
the-
pipe
in terms
to
of how
here,
that whole thing
and then a
gets
dual
done.
head
So,
to certain spaces. Yeah.
you know,
Would that get in the way of the expansion
Yes.
if we did put them against in that green space?
It shouldn't, because you go
No.
up, if you go up on the training room, it shouldn't affect it.
No, we're talking about
Like the police
empty-
station.
the
after.
empty grass area.
If
EV.
Well, you know what, there's gonna be disruption no matter what if you put another building there, so.
yeah,
And that could be 10. That could be 10 or 20 years from now. We don't, who
Yeah.
knows what's going to be happening at that point.
like, at least, right? So
They have, won't be vehicles on the road, they'll be flying around, whoever.
It'll be like your phone. You drive up over it and it's wireless charging.
They have those now. They do have those.
For
There's a
the-
company that makes them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You can buy a little adapter that goes under your car and it's crazy.
I mean, I suppose you could put them on the Route 20 side of that.
So, do you wanna talk, while you have these out, do you wanna talk about your
Yeah.
access points and your travel corridors?
He actually redid that entrance there. I noticed that was the one you were asking about.
Yep.
Yep.
Since we had the plan up, that's why I was asking, that's all.
Yeah. When you guys spoke with MassDOT on this, they were good with this?
Yeah, they were good. They want the plans as right away.
The biggest thing is the entrance to the parking lot, the setback from that corner was the biggest thing that we were more. Yep. When,
What our concern is that MassDOT is going to look at this as like, oh, a new project is happening. We hated that intersection to begin with. We don't want them to do that anymore.
No, they
Yeah, they made it seem very
were
clear.
very,
Okay.
very accommodating. They said, eliminate that sidewalk that went to nowhere.
Yeah.
How did that line up with the existing curb cut, Matt?
It's.
This is the line of these.
Yeah, which they made
oh, it's changed quite a
they
bit.
made reference to that day.
As much as we could, so it's,
Yeah, because of the closest to the corner.
Further.
Yeah.
I think the northern edge isn't. The northern edge is pretty close to where the northern edge was.
Then the dealership on the other end was the other radius that they were concerned with.
Yeah.
That's two-way traffic, right?
That was gonna be my question. Prospect is in and out.
Prospect Street would be the access most people would use.
Yes. In and out.
And Matt, that looks plenty wide as you're coming in off Prospect, but as you make that turn for two cars to be
Radius.
the radius there looks tight appearance wise. I can't.
It looks tight because there's a lot of congestion going on with the back out parking space and everything that's going on there, but it does work. We did run it out and turn on that.
Are you talking the width of that radius?
The width of where that is that circle. That looks fine. It's the right where it meets the parking area.
40 feet.
Right here.
Yeah, right where that dot is to above, right there. That spot across.
This is
From there to that where the handicap spots are, that just looks like a tight. It looks like it narrows from the point where it
Right.
starts the turn into where there potentially are two cars. It doesn't look like there's two full lanes,
Wouldn't be any different than getting out of the high school back lot.
which is not a great design.
I mean, if you look at it, it's almost 3 parking spots. If you slide those up,
The width.
it's almost in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be. Just I think it's just deceiving with
25
the
feet wide.
opening.
Spaces are 9 feet roughly.
Yeah, 24 feet, which is
Would you say 24?
24, which is a standard 2-lane drive aisle.
And how while you get that tool out, can you just do the how wide's the entrance there pulling in off Prospect?
Right here?
Yeah, just across.
Yeah, I think
the mouth
that's
That's wider.
wider.
So you're saying about like it's funneling?
It's an optical illusion. It's effectively the same.
there. Okay.
Wow.
They're gonna be right turn only. Not good.
I would
This-
think that would be left or right out of there.
Yeah.
That should be fun.
You guys can.
I mean, the whole reason for that was to keep people off Route 20, wasn't it? So we
Right.
can't really restrict a left-hand turn.
Take a left coming out of there. You're gonna have it basically creates 2 lanes as of now. When you get closer to that light, and it gets back, then you're gonna try to take a left out of there.
Yeah, but it's no different than when Chuck's was there.
Everyone, no.
Yeah, DOT, when we met with them, said none of that intersection meets their standard, today's standard right now. None of it does. So they said if it gets touched, it has to be all brought up to whatever they're doing, so.
On our dime.
Not on our dime, right?
Yeah.
Don't want it.
I know. I said I don't want it on our dime.
Who's gonna bring that up to, whose time is it for that?
If we affected that intersection, it would fall on this project.
We're not following, we're not in,
Not right now.
No, we're not allowed to touch it.
We went off
That
with
will be
their
that.
advice.
So
Just
the
a
extra
hand with
Sidewalk
thing.
came down and around here, we were updating this crosswalk with striping, and they said those 2 things alone is going to trigger this project.
That's correct.
So we took the sidewalk out.
I'm doing that.
I didn't hear any sidewalk.
We thanked him for that information, though.
Yeah.
Matt, are we able to, because that's a town road, are we able to, similar to what's done in front of the arbitrary station, stripe that area out, please don't block driveway, and obviously in front of the apparatus pit is that standard. I know probably 20% compliance in
I was
front of
going to say, we still
arbitrary,
have to educate everybody what that really means.
The other thing he commented on was the left turn after that entrance that the dealership had put in. Like they didn't know about it, right?
Oh, the left only on
The
the
left
hill,
only?
going up on the hill.
As you're going up. Yeah, so like.
Oh, the one across.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
it was
Toyota
that
dealership.
turn lane was added afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like.
Yeah, they
"Sweet,
didn't
and
know
that-
about
Middle of the night, yeah.
They have no record of it. Yep.
So anyway,
Can you scroll up on this just a little bit so we can see the? Okay.
28th one.
One other change that you probably haven't talked about previously is parking here, the memorial. We can change that parking around just a little bit. Existing memorial here that we're just building around. So it used to be just a big bank.
I don't know if that's just for the future. Maybe there's only 2.
So is that a grass island between the two?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you scroll just down a little bit more? I want to see the entrance going up, the pass through that they have the other way. Sorry.
Which way? Down?
No, you go down. So there's the entrance going in on the back loop. How do you transition to the outside? The very
top?
Yeah.
It just connects to the existing curb cut.
They were concerned just on because it's the property of the adjacent, that they wanted it like tweaked a little bit so that you had the radiuses.
Yeah, we are maxing out what we can touch there because we're right up against the property line and we're up against the wetland. The curb cut that's up here, what's there is what's going to be there. We can't make it any bigger.
That was DOT's, they wanted to see that changed a little bit.
They wanted to make it bigger?
Yeah.
They want to see it changed because some of it's on somebody else's land.
They said isn't Herb Chambers on that to the left?
Yeah, they do.
Someone like that. They said,
So
Used
you know,
to.
you can,
Now it's a new place,
scroll
new
over,
company.
right, a little bit.
The Herb Chambers sold all those.
yeah, I know they sold. So
Oh, it did? It
well,
did?
that's what. Yeah, DOT had mentioned that during our
Yeah.
meeting. They said that they were being sold. So
They wanted to soften that, but yet move it so it didn't. It just was hitting Herb Chambers in the corner, that left corner, just a little bit. They thought.
Looks like they tweaked it.
Wait, where's the existing? Go back up.
So,
So is that black
because
line
right
traffic?
now, if you followed, I don't know why this is covered with a black box, but this basically meets right there at the street and the edge of this is the edge of the property line.
Maybe Josue moved it
This
just
is-
it only needed a little moving.
That looks much better than it did when the plan was
Previously?
looking at.
That's not the original though.
Was there? What's the? Do you have the original?
This is the survey.
Yeah.
So this is the existing.
Huh.
It might have looked worse too, because it was all grown in.
Still grown, yeah,
when
you're
we
right.
looked at it that day.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe.
And what about the retaining wall? Did you guys have to do something like?
We were cutting it back to the property line.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
So is there a wall or no? We were able to get away with. No, we had talked about needing a retaining wall in that back corner when we had that first civil meeting.
Where their parking is, he's saying. Right, Sean?
Yeah.
Firefighters have full.
No, we're trying to make it work where we don't.
Yeah. No, that'd be ideal.
I do have an item that to discuss tonight that might help improve that a little bit. A little bit of upfront cost that might save us a little bit of down the road cost. So I guess I can just bring it up now. So this line here doesn't align to anything. That's the floodplain. So this is a random line that was generated in FEMA. Who knows how long ago? Who knows by who?
That's a floodplain?
Yeah. Floodplain line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flood, water, it follows topography. This is our topography. There, right here.
Why would water go that high then?
So one of the issues is, one of the things we have correspondence from the previous owner that in the 40 or 50 years or whatever they've owned the building that the site's never flooded. We have records from flooding that has occurred 5 or 6 feet down elevation from our lowest elevation on the site, 3 properties away that has flooded. And so we have high level of confidence that we're probably not in the floodplain here, according as this line indicates. So the floodplain triggers a few things. The biggest of which is we're limited to the amount of work we can do within the floodplain in terms of filling. Right? The idea there is that if this is a flood zone or floodplain, that we take a bunch of soil from here, we can move it in and fill that area, it may make somebody's life a lot worse down the street. So then we have to get into what's called compensatory storage. We need to model a way for us to retain more water on site when there is a flood. So what that does is it effectively says that we need to limit the amount of grading we can do in the flood zone. That we can't. And it also means that when we are doing grading, that we have to provide additional stormwater control. Right. We've got about 8 or 9 feet of slope right here. There was a retaining wall previously, right? We're jumping up. And so what it's doing is creating very steep drives coming in the backside of the site, reducing the amount of parking we have. You remember earlier conceptual design, we were trying to get parking all the way through here. We've had to push that all the way back and reduce it. And it's increasing the amount of cost we're incurring in the project, because of additional stormwater management and things like that. So one thing we can do is we can do a pretty simple flood study that analyzes this, models basically from the source of floodwater, which is basically all the way over here. We can model all that and get what's called a base elevation for the flood zone. So this line here, it's a 2% annual chance of flood with no elevation associated with it. What we want to do is we want to get an associated elevation plane line in this line. So with the flood study modeling we do is establish that. We then file with FEMA and revise their flood maps accordingly with this. And our hope is, and our assumption, and there's no guarantee obviously with that, we're up at grade line 642 here. We're at 633 down here. And that flood line is crossing those contours. We think at the very least we can establish the elevation that we push down to 633. But it's allow us to manage all of that topography a little bit better. It's like $17,500 for us to do a comprehensive flood study. I think you'll get back orders of magnitude greater than that in project savings in construction if we were to do this. It'll also help us speed up. This is the only question mark with regard to the Conservation Commission. We have talked to them about it. They're pretty comfortable with what we're showing here, but it would also help expedite that review process.
What's your gut feeling of success by doing this? Yeah. Do you feel like 80% that you'd be able to do that?
To improve through the study?
Get the approval off the study, I guess.
I think we're still going to have to go to Conservation Commission because we're still doing things with.
No, I understand that, but I mean, and I guess I'm looking at the net savings that we're going to get. Predominant of that study, do you feel do you have a confidence level that that line would shift based on? So I mean,
my civil engineer told me 95% confidence.
Oh, so that's what I'm kind of pushing it to that. So hearing that,
Matt doesn't know enough about this.
Right.
He's speaking on behalf of
I
a civil
know.
engineer, but my civil engineer gave me a 95%.
So
I guess my question is: there not that the number is a huge number, but is there a less expensive initial alternative with a simple appeal to FEMA to say, can you use some modern tools to review the flood lines that you established long
They're gonna
before
want an
modern
analysis.
tools? I'm sorry?
They're going to want an analysis, and I'll tell you the reason.
Because I know residents in town that have appealed, and it's been simply based on a written appeal that they have utilized their own.
Being a public project of this nature, I'm sure conservation is going to want some type of study to give them the confidence level to say yes, because they're not going to want it to fall on them. To try.
No, I understand the conservation part. I was thinking just strictly the FEMA part to if they would reconsider where their, like you said at the start, arbitrary line is.
They sharpen their pencil.
Civil engineer? Yeah, I can try to knock him down to tighten it up.
Tell him, we really love his work, and we don't want to go with anyone else.
Well, a third of the old building was inside the floodplain
That
area.
was my question. So, does this floodplain? What does that do for the future tentative expansion of the site for other uses, future police?
You got to take it under consideration with any floodplain that it's worst case scenario. That's what they.
Does that puts the future? We talked about that building being off to the side, whatever
Well, I
it may
think
be. Does that put
doesn't
it
it
in the
curve back?
floodplain?
No, it
No,
curves
it goes
back.
back down. You can see how it drops.
It curves back down, and at the end of the day, you can.
But yeah, if you moved it all,
in the 100-year floodplain, it affects insurance and things like that.
There's a certain distance that's a no touch, and you can do certain work within another footage. So, but if we can get that line bumped, it only makes sense overall.
it makes it easier down the road. It makes it easier for us now, and it'll make it easier down the road for to develop the rest of it if we can get the whole thing moved a little bit.
One thing I'd like to know from the civil engineer is if we do go down this path, are we confident that the parameters haven't changed since when this initial thing went through, right? Like we're comfortable and it makes sense, yep, follows the topography, but did FEMA change their standards and now we're at, all of a sudden it's 5%, right? I don't know what the term is, but just want to double check that before we actually go forward with it, that we're not going to open ourselves up and potentially push it further in.
Right.
I can have them put together sort of like a
town, wasn't it, around that period?
summary of risks or something like that. Like, what's the worst case scenario if we embark on this, and what's the likelihood of that? Something like that, or
Yeah, just want to know where the standards that this floodplain was created, are they the same as they are now?
I don't think we can answer that because there's in all the research we've done, there's no documented this is what established the line.
I didn't know if the agencies had parameters that you had to follow.
Yeah, I mean, what you're getting at is we need to know the risk that it would get worse.
Yeah.
That the line would be closer to the building after the review. Although I suppose if we didn't submit it to FEMA, if we did the study, then
It'll happen when you go to insure the building.
yeah.
Because they're they'll find help.
So, Matt, the last time I heard floodplain was when we were doing the original site studies around town. What's the difference between this little piece of floodplain that's on our property compared to, I think we had heard Auburn Street was not eligible for expansion because of its location within a floodplain?
So this is a flood zone. The issue with headquarters is that was a regulated floodway. So it's a different. This is the bathtub fills up, overfills its banks, and then now you've got water on your site. A floodway is Dark Brook over here floods, and it needs to flow downstream. And by building in the floodway, you start to inhibit its flow and cause that flood to back up and perpetuate into the neighborhoods and elsewhere. So it's you can encompass on a site like this. This is where the flood water is just sort of bubbling up and spilling out. That is, you're preventing it from moving downstream and sort of emptying.
And that floodway, which was going to impact abilities for grants and things, I think that was one of the reasons why we
that's a
eliminated it.
different thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Matt, the rectangle in the center with the 9 rectangle, is that under
Retention.
retention?
No.
Oh,
No, that's the card.
No, there's
That's a potential.
that's an area blocked out for they had a little like vegetable garden area.
Oh, okay.
Oh, for the town?
It's a
Oh, wow.
potential community garden.
Yeah.
Too early in the project
It's
to
like a
commit.
detention.
The detention basins are on this plan, and there's an area blocked
Underneath
out
the
here
parking?
and an area blocked out here.
So,
And actually, what you'll look at is if you did a comparative of the estimate versus what's shown in the site plan, there's a lot more tension shown on the site plan than there is in the estimate. Because this was showing a worst case scenario, and we did some more analysis of takeoffs and reduced the area, and that's what you find in the estimate.
I just wanted to let everybody know, the preliminary budget that we put together, there is a couple line items. You know, if he's able to reduce the civil engineer to a more reasonable number, and we can talk what I think that should be. We have it within our budget to do that and not affect, you know, the overall process. So I think,
My question was which line item in the budget did
like
you?
moving costs.
Okay.
You know, they're not gonna need the value that I have there. I was just having a quick chat with the chief. You know, they're getting a lot of new stuff there, and they're gonna have some of the town help them with some of that process. I'm still carrying a number, but I'm not gonna need that total number, and I think that alone would be able to help out with the payment and reduction, and be another cost savings if we're able to do that in a number of different ways. So the price of the overall project will go down.
Right.
That's what the intent is.
Matt, just a question about this whole thing. It would seem like we're kind of under the gun when it comes to having this study and final plans for conservation. You mentioned in your timeline meeting with conservation. If we don't take a vote on this tonight, that pushes you out to the 6th before you could give them the go-ahead potentially. And I'm just curious, what does
I was
that
going
do?
to say, I would vote the committee not to exceed a certain value, and then Matt and I can negotiate with civil engineer. Then you've got the approval to move forward, and then we'll bring the final number to you, not to exceed a value.
Yeah, I mean, I'm asking, like, we would need to do something tonight, or at least appropriate some funds.
Expedite it. Well, conservation's first pass, right? You're gonna go in front of them more than once.
I'm running through my head this scheduling, timing, and everything. I'm sure I can make it work if we wait 2 weeks for the approval.
But what about, like, the FEMA component? They have to look at this too, and then they would really be the ones to make the decision to move that line,
My
correct?
understanding is this goes pretty quick.
Okay.
As long as
sooner
you have
would
the
be better.
documentation.
Yeah, I think they said something
Sooner
like
would
3
be
to 6 weeks it takes to do one of these
Yeah.
things.
I just don't want to wait 3 weeks to have him begin it, that's all. That's what I guess what Sean's trying to say is, if we wait 3 weeks, you still may have time to do it, but you lose that buffer, that's all.
Right. Do we have a recommended not to exceed number? Budget planning?
I could recommend a number, not to exceed $15,000.
Maybe, but I don't.
And that fits in with the available and the moving budget.
We're well within our means.
I can make that work, and I could try to get it lower.
Yeah, I know, I know you'll work your magic, so.
Yeah.
My fist reaches through it.
We can meet together with them.
Why not just vote on that tonight?
Well, yeah, that's,
It wasn't an item on the agenda, certainly. So
No, we can move through it, but are we going to present the budget? We're going to talk about where we are with the budget right now. Who's doing that?
yep, sure.
Unless there's more on the site plans or the building itself that people have questions from the drawings and stuff.
Matt, I just have one parking lot plan. I guess this can wait, but just I noticed the parking area dead ends before it hits that access road. Is that on purpose? I'm just thinking snow removal stuff. I mean, just maintenance. Ideally, you want all your visitors to stay within those spaces, but I can see, hosting a Chiefs conference and needing to get additional people out to the back. I know you want to restrict that road.
At the fire department's request to have that blocked.
Okay.
And not like a gate.
We're trying to keep
Yeah.
people off that back road.
How are you going to block the access road in general? Are you going to have that gate armed somehow, or?
We're still talking that through.
Yep.
Some of the plans we liked were too costly, so we're reevaluating.
Okay.
Interns. You're just gonna have an intern stand out there.
All right, so we'll jump right into the estimate. So just have an overview. If there's anything we want to look at specifically, I have the PDF of the estimate. So, the initial construction budget from the May appropriation was $24,800,000. I just wanted to outline that we had $1.2 million in contingency, another $1 million in tariff contingency, for a total construction budget of $27 million. Where we are with the estimate is we are at 27,916, exclusive of the contingencies. So it's about a $3 million delta right now that we're seeing. Now, I'll caveat that a number of ways. One, this is schematic design, and the estimate at this phase is very hypothetical and using a lot of assumptions. So that's sort of what took us the past couple of weeks, a little while, to get you the estimate. Is we're correcting as many of those assumptions as we can. That doesn't mean we got them all, and there's still a lot in there, and a lot of site development and a lot of detail to go through.
And the estimators in every project are being a lot more conservative at the schematic design. We just opened up, I was just speaking with another town administrator, and they opened up a bid for a fire station just recently, and the bids came in $6.5 million under budget. So the estimators haven't caught up to that, although we've had 6 successful projects under budget on that aspect of it. They're still nervous. We've seen the tariffs have a little bit of effect on cost of goods, but what's happening is most general contractors are trying to line up the next 3 to 5 years worth of work, so they're being very competitive on their bidding practices because they don't know what the impacts are going to be. So right now, to Matt's point, conservative isn't even the word I would use. I feel they're being protective, because if they come in at 23 million, let's say, and it comes in at 25, they look bad. So they're going to come in high, and if there's a $5 million savings, they're heroes.
So a couple things we can do here. Here's a couple of value engineering considerations that we can go down in order to tighten the budget up. Some are adds, some are not adds. So the first one, because this was requested by the committee, is if we went with a granite water table in lieu of precast concrete. Our estimator put a value on that of a $69,000 add. Something that we can still consider as a bid alternate. That's an easy one to package up, but I did want to put that out there. I did talk to Glenn about this earlier too. We could reduce or eliminate the mechanics bay. There's about 1,700 square feet in there. It's not a apples to apples reduction as far as cost per square foot goes. So $800 to $900 a square foot. You don't get that in a reduction for that space because all the big stuff is already bought. Not a favorable cut, but certainly one to think about. One thing we did do initially, we had talked about with the mechanical system, is going with electric heat pumps. We did run the estimate with gas-fired boilers for this. So we would design the building with gas-fired equipment but so that it could be when the next cycle comes around in 20-25 years, when you start replacing equipment, that you could upgrade it to electric. We did the same thing with the Shrewsbury Police Station as a way to reduce cost. If we wanted to go with all electric heat pumps, it was an $884,000 add on top of what we're looking at. So big increase in cost for that.
That one, Matt, so that's just reading a little confusing, so
Eliminate.
the elimination of the heat pumps?
I wrote it's written backwards. Apologize for that. Let me fix that line.
Right now, we have heat pumps? Or we do?
No.
No.
Right now we have
don't.
Gas-fired
boilers.
Go to heat pumps, it's 880.
An ad. Okay. Huge ad.
So we say gas or
$1 million.
propane?
It's propane. It's got to be propane.
Yep, on-site propane. We talked about eliminating that stair access on the roof. So there's about $250,000 tied up in that. We could reduce, we can get up $128,000 to go to asphalt shingles for the pitched roofs instead of standing seam metal.
It's not worth it.
If
One
that was
thing-
$500,000, I'd be, talking to you about it, but to me, that's not too.
One thing we did do is we did put the squeeze on the floor plan one more time. So we got a little more than 5% out of the floor plan by making a couple of changes. I can walk you through those plan revisions, but we reduced the gross square footage of the entire building by another 1,140 square feet. So that's anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million right off the top in net reduction in cost.
Matt,
From the estimate.
Yes.
Oh, so we're
You're still over. Way over. Still.
yeah, but not.
Yeah, we're not going to, we're not,
Yeah.
well, if you eliminated the mechanics bay, could that be done at Drury Square? But it wouldn't be as efficient because you're spread apart?
No, you
Not high
can't.
enough.
You can't lift the trucks.
Oh, you,
at
did
Drury
not,
Square.
you don't have the height. Okay, so that takes it. Yeah.
So before you make any drastic changes to these plans right now, you are at schematic. I think
Well, the other big thing that's not even here is take the entire backside and reduce your materials.
you finish.
You got brick all the way around the whole building,
yeah.
and that's a lot of brick back there.
Mhm.
And we could reduce it down to
Panels,
something.
whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Right?
Do
But
something.
all I'm suggesting is that I think we have to do the exercise to earmark some cost saving measures
Yep.
without hesitation. But I also feel it would be premature right now to act on it until we get closer to design development. We're going to have more detail, more disciplines to be able to really calculate and cost out. We'll be doing our estimate. They'll be doing their estimate. We'll be reconciling at that point and I will personally have a better feel for what the market's doing at that point. To make significant cuts at schematic design.
Yeah. No, but I mean,
Doing yourself
there are
justice.
ideas that we can be at least reviewing or saying, forget about it, don't even try that one, and we'll try
I'm
something
just
else.
saying,
Yeah.
like, I don't want him to go through a design exercise based on, a knee-jerk reaction to an estimate that I feel's high.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, basically the process here going forward for us is that estimate is our Bible up until the next estimate, right? It's something that we will always be referencing and saying, all right, now that we're working on this detail, how are ways, where's the fat in the budget and how do we trim that as we start to develop those?
What can we do to make efficiencies on it?
Right, which is
That's
what
why
we already did in this first pass is revising the floor plan and all right, where's the fat in the floor plan? How can we suck that in?
That's why it's so difficult from conceptual to schematic to do a takeoff on it, because you don't have the same level of information that you do with the schematic. And from design development to schematic, we'll even have even more detail.
And I will say that our estimator for this project, RLB up in Boston, right away of Bucknell, are the most conservative estimator that I have ever worked with. And I've worked with them on dozens of projects, and they are always more conservative than any other estimator I've worked with. We never go over budget as a result of that on bid day. But
But it
they
doesn't
force
give
us
you
to
an
tighten
easy
our belts.
feeling, right?
Yeah.
So, when we open bids, that's probably the biggest, sickest feeling I always get, bid day, because you're like, it's the unknown. But then you'll see things come in favorable, like, oh, thank God we did it. It's just, you just don't know what that cost is at that given minute.
Is there a cost difference between just regular red brick and like say block or like the smooth face block that they got and stuff?
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
And what would that cost the say the smooth block to in lieu of the ACM panels? You do that and do a color of that. This way, you still keep a more maintenance-free product.
Yeah, we can look
You
at
do the block
what
in the
the
back,
cost
still keep the
difference-
brick on the curb appeal side.
Yeah, we
turn
can-
block in the back.
Split face or something.
You could do a split face,
Split
maybe
face,
mix some
ground
smooth
face.
into it. You could change the colors
Yeah.
and stripe.
Your joint lines, all of that.
Correct.
Yep.
Wasn't the labor a lot less with the blocks? It's three
Yeah, I
courses
mean,
to one.
masonry's masonry, and the difference is, to his point, you have more coverage, so the installation is going to be a little quicker, so your numbers will be tighter.
I think that's what it gets down. I think the cost per square foot brick to ground face block is about the same, but your labor is cut by a third.
Right. That's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
And you could even do soldier courses.
So on this, but like the brick is basically just the facade. You're still doing a framed building with insulation. So we're not doing omni blocks. So
Right.
there's just going to be 4-inch block everywhere if we did block, right?
Right.
So all right.
Yeah. That's a cost saving too.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would be lean that direction over like eliminating the mechanics bay. Or
I would too.
Yeah, that's.
Is insulated metal panel an option? We looked at one of the, I think it was Northbridge or something. They had the backside was IMPs.
Yeah, we did. And there was, it was, well, we can look at different options for that, but our cost estimator was throwing $100 to $110 a square foot for that. So that's almost 3 times more than brick.
Yeah, but you eliminate
You don't have the
everything behind
insulation.
all your insulation,
don't
shooting,
make-
and everything else.
The labor and
They don't make,
Yeah, value
they
in
don't
those
make
panels.
insulated metal panels.
You still have to insulate.
Well, what are you talking about?
We're talking about 6 inches of insulation in the wall.
I know, but what do you need for our value on the exterior wall? On this job,
I think R24 is what we're starting with.
On the stretch now.
Doesn't the 3 or 4 inch IMP
yeah,
get you that?
yeah, the IMP 4-inch panel is
But
32.
The metal, so are you talking metal panels mounted to the metal studs directly?
Yeah, or
So a girth
columns.
system.
Yeah, girth system.
Oh, so you're not talking a rain shield?
No, just the
because it's not thermally broken. The new energy code with the 10th edition, you have to derate all of that because of all the thermal bridging that comes along with it. And so you have to increase the insulation even more in order to accommodate that. Because we have to now model all the thermal bridging within the entire envelope.
But on that end, I don't think you're going to want to see the metal panels. I mean, it's literally just.
You're changing that look of that building.
You're gonna go back to a warehouse. It's gonna be like driving by
On the backside, yeah.
On the backside, right?
Yeah.
Well, let us. But these are all great ideas. I want them to go back and.
But you
look
can
at some
go.
other
You can go.
options.
There's flush ones and jointed. That it comes out. It's still insulated panels, but it's not the ribbed warehouse look.
Yeah, no, they have smoother ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still a metal panel. Though. I mean, it's nothing. Your ACM panels are going to look way better than that. But I don't know. We'll look at the cost.
But $4 million is $4 million.
Well, I think the end result is we just need to add some of those options to our list at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want them to. The comments are actually really good because it gives them the opportunity to look at each facet of this building and come up architecturally what makes the most sense and what cost reductions they can have. That's what's going to happen between schematic and design development. It's a baseline. Schematic's your baseline right now. Now from there we got to take off. You got to remember we only did square footage costs on conceptual. That's what we had.
Matt, do they have reasonable sized propane tanks on this one? Not like we did in Sutton?
I think so. I don't have the sizing.
Something to consider when they're doing that.
Yeah.
Remember the debacle we had there?
for that now.
So you, about what was that again?
We had way too big of storage tanks, and there was like 3 of them for a small little police station.
Understood.
I don't remember the size of them now, but they were a lot of money.
Yeah, it wasn't very big what we were proposing for this.
Are you doing underground or above ground?
Above ground.
Mechanicals.
What does energy usage look like in those apparatus bays? And what is there to prevent every time they open those doors for the entire?
It's a radiant heated slab.
There's nothing holding the heat in.
That's, I mean, is
So
it is. Go ahead.
the blowers,
Yeah, so
the blowers are kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, there's no like
The unit.
forced hot air in there. We've designed it with a radiant heated slab. So 3 inches below the topping of concrete is where the radiant tubes are. It's water and glycol that pump through there, 110 degrees or something like that. When the doors open and close, you'll lose that ambient heat. But the slab itself is basically a big mass of heat, so it recovers very quickly. And because all your heat is down here at the slab, and it's acting like a big heat battery, we've got ceiling fans up in the ceiling that pushes the air and keeps the heat down. So it's actually the most efficient way that you can do that. And the doors can open and close all day long.
Are you proposing Modine just as backup? Not at all. Okay.
Can you use high-speed doors to cut down on the time instead of the
I
overhead
think
door?
they're overhead. We
The
talked
speed?
about, the bifolds are faster.
Or like
doors.
Rytec or something?
But the cost and the cost, they are faster. The cost differential to get them and the maintenance around them just outweigh it. I do believe you may want makeup units because if they're designing to 7 degrees, which is pretty much standard, ambulances run more than anything, right?
They both go out just about.
So when those doors come up, you're gonna have a drop in heat, and in that 40-minute response and coming back, you're gonna have enough time for that to come back up because the ambulances have to maintain a 65-degree temperature with the equipment on it. So
I just brought it up relative to the tanks, just a difference from an interior police station that's no more than the front door opening compared to those bays that are open to the elements at all times, regular basis.
I haven't heard recovery as being any issues from the stations we've looked at that are built. So I don't know. To your point.
I know we did Sharon and all we had is radiant, and those cold spells that went below 9 degrees, 10 degrees below zero, those nights that systems struggle to recover. That's all. I'm just putting it out there. That's not to say that it happens everywhere, but
Cost to add a couple of Modines in there wouldn't be that crazy anyways. You already have propane on the site at that point then.
yeah. What we ended up doing is that we had a radiant heat out in the apparatus aprons, and to solve that, because the building was already built, we put in a couple of Modine. We just converted the furnace to, instead of supplying the heat for the radiant heat for the apron, we supplied the Modine to make up the difference. And the only time the radiant heat for the Modine would come on is if the temperatures dropped by a certain temperature. So it was a bypass just to get the units back up to 65 degrees. They shut off and the radiant heat came back on. That was the resolution to that. We can talk about it. And they're not a ton of money to put in.
No.
So, any other questions?
Just you just briefly you went over that the interior stuff and materials for flooring and stuff like that with the department. At some point, will that come back to us?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking overall, and the chief can certainly go over what the current facilities maintenance plan is for town buildings. I don't even really know who comes in to clean and polish floors and all of that. So that's just a consideration as to selection at that point.
Operations you're talking about.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, someone's got to maintain it.
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, it goes to, we mentioned the planters, it'll be a nice look, but somebody's still got to come and plant the flowers and water the flowers. Like, those are those long-term sort of.
Anticipation was that they would hire somebody, a custodian.
So currently now the firefighters clean the stations. All the other town buildings have, the DPW has a maintenance guy that comes around and cleans for the other town buildings. We're anticipating with this building, we would actually have the DPW clean the first floor only on that and maintain the community room and the other things associated with it.
Was the terrazzo value even worth publishing, or was it minimal?
Terrazzo's more money than.
I don't remember seeing how much square footage it was, but I did see the.
It's not a big square footage.
Is that like the old school terrazzo in schools?
It's a resinous epoxy terrazzo. We don't. You can still do the sand bed terrazzo, but it's not as common, and there's not as many contractors qualified in it.
Lost art.
Although there's only 3 contractors qualified to do.
You'll never have a better floor, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first thing we talked about when
It's beautiful, but
The level
they
of
brought
effort.
it up. Yeah.
Level of effort to install is more intense.
That was like an option that we saw.
Well, the middle school lobby, the main lobby in there is all epoxy terrazzo.
We got $73,000 worth of terrazzo. But and
With the logo and stuff.
and another $16,000 in the base. The quartz tile that we were recommending is an alternate. Where is it? QT1, $15 a square foot versus 55. So
A significant difference.
40. You'd save $40,000 if we went to the quartz tile.
Sounds good to me.
So these are all topics that they're gonna, we're gonna hold accountable and just keep tracking them. And this isn't unheard of to go through your first pass to have the estimate being high at this level, so. If it's like this at DD, then I start to sweat.
I know you had the dates up there before, so DD is what you're gonna have drawings done. What, early December?
In another month or so.
You got a month?
I wanted to, one other item that I had in there.
Oh, the acoustic deck stuff in the partitions. Where was that? Number 8 and 9.
So the acoustic deck, that's looking at doing an acoustic metal deck in the apparatus bays. So for those who don't know, it's basically the metal deck that they make the roof or floor out of. It's got perforations in it. You put insulation up there, reduces a little bit of echoing and things like that. The acoustic folding partition is the training room, to divide the training room into 2 separate rooms. It's another $100,000 for that.
where was the
Could you
acoustic
build?
deck?
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but where were you saying the acoustic deck was going?
Apparatus bays.
In the apparatus ceiling. Where they do the acoustical metal panel with the insulation, and it just takes some of the, but this fire stations, I was surprised at a couple of them that didn't have any acoustic. Northbridge did, they sprayed on
Oh yeah, they
almost like a textured material.
I was gonna say.
K15.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It deadened
How's that
the
compare?
sound in there, but
We did the acoustic deck in Lexington at their headquarters.
Right.
I've also done them without the acoustic deck, and it's
Does
just
that
fine.
make it, the mechanicals harder? With the acoustic deck, if they're hanging off of there?
There's not a lot of mechanicals up there to be.
Yeah,
you
a
got
lot's going to be
lighting and-
hanging off the joists, but
There's
Okay.
like more exhaust fans coming out.
I want to pull up an item from the
Right. Trying to think of any.
Can you do like a tectum deck underneath to
No,
absorb
it's
the sound?
almost like I won't say it was like, no, the answer is no. It was more of it almost looks like a blown-in insulation.
Yeah, it's a spray applied.
Yeah.
It's a after.
Yeah, the
It's got to be cheaper than the deck itself.
Yeah.
But
K15,
Yeah.
K something it's called, isn't
didn't
it?
love that
K something.
product.
No, you know what it
you
just
can paint
looked.
it.
It
You
was
can
starting
dry
to-
fall.
It
Yeah.
didn't look like it was. It would look unfinished
Yeah.
when you saw it underneath. That's all. And then they painted it.
It was dark. Yeah, it was like a black. They painted it like a black. So it was
That's why you paint it black, so you don't notice it.
So one other thing, aside from the floor plan modifications that we talked about, it's $500,000 to $1 million. One other item that we did talk to our estimator about is taking 8 inches of floor to floor height from the first floor and 8 inches of floor height from the second floor to the roof. So reducing the entire building height down by 1'4". That little change was another $600,000 to $700,000 in reduction.
What does that do
More
for
difficult. Does that do
But
mechanical?
yeah, no
I
kidding.
was just gonna.
You guys
Coordination
don't
drawings
give
would
us
be
ever
awful.
enough room. Come on.
So what does that do?
We were already doing a 16-foot floor between the first and second floor, and a 15 to the roof, which is too much. We didn't need
Your
all that.
hang is higher.
That's way.
So
That is getting everybody in
we've
there.
already reviewed it with our
Especially
duct
with all the
runs.
duct work. That's
We've
the
already reviewed it with our duct runs, and it works. But
Between duct and fire suppression, that's probably the worst. two right there.
the sprinkler guys,
Well, the sprinkler guys committed the code. HVAC can move around. That's what they always think. It doesn't always work
Electrical
that
can
way.
move around. Everything else gets tight.
So I think, yeah, we had a more generous floor to floor than we normally do in this one. But because our pinch points, which is the lobby and the stair, have isolated HVAC systems from the rest of the building, that we don't have major trunk runs transversing between some of those, so we can still make it work. The worst case scenario that we were looking at was going to be in the bunk rooms. And so the worst case scenario there, we'd have to put the bunk room ceilings at 8'6". I think that's fine.
That's in a perfect world, right? That's not with any conflicts.
Right. Yeah. If we have to go to 8,
It's still pretty high though.
yeah.
That's a normal.
That's
It's normal.
that's enough for me. That's a 6-inch buffer that we can play with.
Plus, for the size of the room, it is. You don't want it too high of a ceiling because go in there and feel,
feel
So I mean, yeah, the door's going to be 7 feet.
Yeah.
yeah.
Was right there.
So those three big ones: the stair tower, the reduction in the floor plan, and then the reduction in the building height. Those two alone add up to $2 to $2.5 million, somewhere around there. So
We can look at it. That's all. Not saying we're acting on it, but we should carry it just a line item. What does that do? How quickly does your structural engineer and all of your,
the plan change and the building elevation heights,
how much time do they need?
0 time because we went ahead and did that anyway.
Well played.
So my suggestion is that we're gonna track as many of they call value engineering, many of the cost saving measures that we're gonna go through in your recommendations. And you get to the point where we get closer to DD, and then we'll make some hard decisions at that point. And the estimators are not gonna agree, I can tell you flat out. Our estimator, their estimator are gonna be hitting heads and trying to be conservative on either end, so.
Yeah, the last time I went through reconciliation on a big project, just last year, the two estimators were
Just fight.
15 to 20% apart from each other.
Oh.
So these are, sometimes it's a they're rolling dice and it's a shot in the dark, but when we take the time to really go through with a fine tooth comb, make sure that all the takeoffs are right, the assumptions are right, and we do that as a group, which we'll do, it gets us to a really good point where we have a really accurate
We just want
budget.
them looking at the same thing, that's all. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. Any follow-up questions?
Can we keep a running list, I guess, of those to
Yep.
pull out when we need it?
And we should add the ones that were discussed tonight too, Matt, so.
Yeah. I have a shared document. I have a document for this that I'll just share it with you.
That's perfect.
Great.
Do we need to take any action on that?
I do want to take action on the
Floodplain.
floodplain, yep. You saw the budget, you want to see that first.
And
Well, I just wanted everybody to get a feel.
We don't
yeah.
have to take action on any
You-
reductions yet.
Do you also have to take action to approve me to move to DD?
I would like
Some committees have that authority. I don't know if your charter has that, but certainly worth a vote to say we accept the schematic design.
Yeah.
I think we should, even if we don't have to.
So estimated cost of the flood study was 16.5. But it's not going to be that, so it doesn't matter.
We'll be down to 14 before you know
I had 35.
Well, I mean, we have the funds, so we can act as soon as they say this is an agreeable price. So I would assume that.
I would just make a motion not to exceed 15 and then go from there.
Well, and I think a good piece of information that we didn't talk about was when we looked at this the first time, it was affecting employee parking. And right now, as that's programmed, it's not ideal for like shift change. Obviously, we could work around that if we had to, but I think it would be better if we could get that line moved.
All right.
Which one do you want first?
Probably, I don't know. We can go with the floodplain review.
All right. I will make a motion that we approve doing a floodplain study with a cost not to exceed $15,000.
Second.
Any other discussion, questions, concerns? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It's approved. And do we have a motion to approve the moving into the DD phase here with the running list of value management items?
Yeah, I'll move that we will instruct everybody to we'll accept the schematic design and move to DD with the list of maintaining the list of value add and cost reductions that we discussed tonight.
I second.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions, discussions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. So all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It's approved. Okay. Next item, we had a left field update. So
I just wanted to give we talked quite a bit about everything that we've been working with.
Yeah.
The key components are that we'll meet with the fire department, the architect, independently, just for a number of different reasons. We as comprehensive as the planning approval process for the permitting. We met with the town, got some great information about the sequence of when we're going to meet, and then I had conversation with the architect and came up with a comprehensive plan at how the permitting process should go through it. I think it's essential. I think we're correlating a group as we move through each of those meetings to ensure that the department's still meeting all of their program needs, and the architect's getting the information to make sure he's expediting his clients for his drawings and the components associated with the detail that needs to go into it. We've been meeting with the department on a number of different issues. They're giving us some insight of as simple as some of the equipment that they're like. We'll let them know that any of the equipment that they currently have or any of the components that are the requirements for electrical or plumbing, that they're providing that documentation so that everything's in the drawings, in the specifications, so everything's great. We're going to continue that all the way through this process. We are engaging, as I indicated, through DD cost estimate on our end of it. We're going to do our independent. We're going to reconcile with them through DD, and we'll have more comprehensive information from that as well. Other than that, we're moving forward, and with the approval portion of it, I do that for a number of different reasons. One, I don't like to move backwards. I mean, I've had designers keep going without an approval, and then, they're told to go back, and it was never discussed or even an indication on the approval. I think it just keeps everybody in tune with, the direction you want done and the process as we move forward. I'll tell you, Matt's team has been instrumental to make sure that transparency and communication has been out there through this process. So the committee should be happy with their level of effort. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Next topic is just our open committee discussion topics. I know we've talked about a lot tonight, so I don't know if there's anything more. Probably or probably not. If not, we move on.
I think the only thing I would have is like, what's our next decision point? And
The next component's going to be some of the discussion points on cost reductions. At our next meeting, where I already sent Matt a note just saying, we're going to make a running list, we're going to prioritize it, and then we'll probably come back to the committee. They may be initialed as alternates that we would take it into consideration. I mean, those are some of the decisions that you'll be moving forward on.
okay.
And then the finishes will be the other part of it. That's it.
I have a question. When do we need to start the process with the pre-qualification?
We're actually putting that sequence together now. So there's a number of different methods of doing that. We're going to put the documentation for the advertisement of it and the submittal process. As we indicated, there'll be some of the committee that'll be involved in that process. We'll walk you through each of that step, and then the notification goes back out to them. There is an appeal process for those who do not get qualified, so we'll have to take that into consideration, that timeline. We're putting a schedule together on that now.
Thank you.
So right now we had tentatively for the 6th, which is 3 weeks out from now.
I think you're good with that.
Okay.
There's no major decisions right now that I need from committee to move forward.
Okay. We'll have enough to talk about for that, the 6th.
Yeah. Does Matt think? Matt, you think you'll have enough?
You get enough time for you?
Yeah, definitely.
We read his mind. So.
I have a personal thing on my calendar that afternoon. I got to figure out what that means. But if I'm not here, Tyler will be. So I should be.
We'll coordinate with him either way.
Okay. So that's our next meeting. Then will be October 6th.
If that needs to be changed or tweaked, we'll let you know.
Okay. We do have another public comment session, which was requested to have one.
I never know who pops in,
But,
right?
yeah, we still have no public here, so we'll move on to adjournment. So take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
A second. All those in favor? Hey, adjourned. See you on the 6th.